Why is it that despite being a good person, doing all the right things, maybe even taking on practices like writing in a manifestation journal or meditating or praying that God or the universe will bring things into your reality, make your desires come true, and despite that, nothing. Yet you see other people who are doing none of these things and are having things effortlessly fall into their lap. This process can be incredibly frustrating to experience, and through over a decade of me observing human behavior when I was working as a paramedic, to later learning about many of these concepts, the mechanics of reality, I've come to begin to understand what this thing is that many people hang on to, that oftentimes leads them to self sabotage and energetically block themselves from receiving anything. So, with that being said, let's get right into the video. I'm going to explain this in 3 parts. And by the end of the video, you're going to understand this basically one thing, easy thing that you can do to let go and open up this channel for abundance to flow into your life. Because you see, there's nothing but abundance out there. There's an endless amount of abundance available to you. It's this conditioning and mindsets that we've taken on in this, what I call the control system, the system of institutions and frameworks and ways of believing collectively that's made us act in a certain way, right? Think of your 9 to 5 job goers. Think of your college students. Think of your all these phases of life that you may have even gone through, right? And we should start by talking about the law of cause and effect. This is a universal law. There's a few universal truths that govern the way our reality works that are undeniable, that it does not matter what race, religion, creed, background that you have, these laws are always at work, whether you realize them or not. And frankly, these laws don't care if you understand them or not, but they continue to work. The law of cause and effect states that every effect has a cause, and that many people end up living in this plane of effects, thinking that things are happening to them, not realizing they can operate from a higher plane of causes, being able to cause things to happen in their reality. This means taking radical responsibility for every single thing that's happening to them, which can be a lot. But by operating from the causal plane, you then become the creator of your reality. You begin to realize that you can create your reality just as you were created. And literally, you are limitless when you step out into the unknown with this faith that things are going to work in the direction that you desire. Faith is key. Now, what is the mechanism that operates between the law of cause and effect? What is the thing that makes, when you operate from this causal plane, makes things happen in your reality or not happen in your reality? This is the energy of karma. And it's referred to as many different things across many different religions, across many different spiritual backgrounds. It really doesn't matter what background you come from. There's this idea of when you do something that, what goes around comes around, is the classic saying. The seeds you plant today, whether it be positive or negative, will grow into the fruits that you later will have an abundance of, whether those are positive or negative. You can sort of think of karma like a boomerang. And when you send energy out towards a person, towards a situation, when you act in a certain way, it projects a certain frequency, and that frequency will be reflected back to you through another law that I call I don't call it, the mirror principle, which is an ancient Hermetic law that states that reality is just a mirror, that everybody is basically you pushed out and will reflect back to you your thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. Now, basically, this law has one caveat. The law of karma has one caveat that many people overlook. And this is that the higher your level of awareness of these universal laws, and the greater your level of ignorance towards them, the greater the consequences you may even suffer, because you are at a higher level of consciousness. Yet, when you ignore these truths, these universal truths, you actually erode your own inner truth, because everything is a mirror. And when you erode your own inner truth, you begin to erode your own confidence, which then makes it that much harder to take action towards those things, which then makes it harder for those things to come to you. But how do we break this cycle? Are humans meant to be in an endless cycle of suffering? Are you meant to just be suffering throughout your whole life? No, absolutely not. Humanity was like that for a very long time, actually, in an endless cycle of suffering, of not knowing why things were happening to them, not realizing that they could create as they were created, that there were higher levels of existence that they had access to. But then came a man named Jesus Christ. And this is not to go on a religious pathway. This is a man who came to earth with some wisdom. And one of the things that he said is that there's a higher law above these other laws. And this law has the ability to break this karmic cycle, to actually put you on a path of abundance, to put you on a path of receiving. And this higher law is called the law of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful acts of surrender that you could possibly do. Now, when I say forgiveness, this might trigger people, because many people, when you think about forgiveness, forgiving somebody that's wronged you, you would think that that is, in a sense, admitting to yourself that what they did to you was okay. But that's totally not the case, because the universe does not care, frankly, about your emotions and how you feel about things. What it does care about is the feeling that you're projecting out there and mirroring that back to you. So if you had a negative experience with somebody many years ago, let's say you were bullied, and you find yourself repeatedly bringing this story up to other people, you're still carrying the essence of this negative energy. It's still in your field, even though you may not be consciously aware of it. And the only way to get rid of this, the only way to clear this energy out of your system, is to learn the act of forgiveness, which is to learn the act of letting go, which is to learn the act of surrender. And when you surrender, you're essentially clearing your field of this negative energy that you've been hanging on to. So when you learn to forgive and let go of the past, let go of the energy of people who have hurt you, you begin to clear out these negative energy blocks, and you achieve something called heart-mind coherence. Heart-mind coherence is basically this idea that your heart emanates a frequency. It emanates an electromagnetic wave, which is scientifically proven, that radiates out 50 to 5,000 times further than the electromagnetic waves of your brain, which are a much subtler electromagnetic wave. But when these two things become in alignment, when the brain waves are in alignment with the heart electromagnetic waves, it creates something called heart-mind coherence, which completes this energy system in your body, which is the very energetic system responsible for the acts of creation of your reality. Now, when you do this, you'll participate in the act of liberation. Your heart will become liberated. You will become more open to loving and to be loved and to receive and to give. This endless cycle of giving and receiving, which is what life is all about, which is what attracting abundance is all about. And when you become liberated, you start to resonate at a higher emotional frequency, which is the very act of raising your vibration. When you say, oh, that guy has a high vibe, or I like the vibe of that guy, that's because they're resonating on a higher emotional frequency, which even has the ability to affect other people's frequencies around you. Incredibly, incredibly powerful. When you do this, you become open to receiving. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of this. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Until next time, peace.